right, everybody. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here, and of course, I'm joined as always with both of my co-hosts, Darian Smith and Jimmy Marion. We've got another free show for you guys today. We're going to discuss the UAB 2025 football schedule. Will UAB go bowling in 2025? Stay tuned. But this episode, as always, of the Blazer Victory Podcast is brought to you by Cahaba Brewing Company, as I show at the screen. We're gonna spotlight their Cahaba Blonde. It's the staple in my household. If you have not tried it, go on down to your local supermarket. You're gonna see six packs of the Cahaba Blonde, or make your way down to the Cahaba tap room and let them know that you heard about Cahaba and on the Blazer Victory podcast. And stay tuned for they have tons of events in the tap room. You can go to cahababrewing.com and see a list of events that they have going on in the tap room. And YouTube, hey, shout out to YouTube. We're still trying to get to 500 subscribers. I think we're at 415. So we need what is it, 85 more subscribers to hit 500. That helps us out a lot. Where we can make some maybe small earnings on YouTube. That is the benchmark, to have 500 subscribers. So whether you are on the audio or the YouTube, we appreciate all of our Blazer Victory podcast listeners and viewers. Just help us spread the word about the podcast. But without further ado, I'll share my screen and we can get into it. The 2025 UAB football schedule. Guys, can y'all see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's an important year, important season for Trent Dover and company. Obviously, I think we all agree, all three of us agree that got to get to a bowl game um, to be considered a successful season for Trent Dilfer and company. Um,
Even more than that, I think gotta get to a bowl. Gotta have a winning season to keep your job.
I mean,
And
yeah,
I think they he has talked about that. He talked about how he almost got fired this upcoming year. He was in limbo, wondering was he was going to get fired or not. They know it's kind of a make or break year. Like and I the coolest part about it is I think they take full accountability for it. They accept it. It's not like it's a secret.
oh yeah, they're not shying away from it. I think the staff, like what you said, Darren, they realize how important this season is, and to get to that bowl game. Obviously, the staff turnover, bringing in Russ as the defensive coordinator. So that defense has got to get better. Um, but you got to show something on the offense. Offense kind of struggled with finding an identity this past season. Um, but you've got a lot changes within the staff, so a lot to look forward to. But again, yeah, really vital to for UAB to get to a bowl game. Let's just before we deep dive in this schedule, and our Patreon. Hey, shout out to our Patreon listeners. We did this a couple months ago. Just really kind of initial reaction. We've had a month or two to sit on it. Um, Jimmy, what's just your general observations when you see the 2025 schedule for UAB?
Well, you guys already hit on the primary objective, but when I look at the schedule here, first thing I always point to is look at the road games. What do you mean? We got to play on the road? UAB football has struggled here in the past few years, but whenever I look at a UAB football schedule, the first thing I look at is week two. We'll talk a little bit about week two today because UAB football has had their struggles, since the return in week two matchups, but. overall, I think it's a pretty challenging schedule. I know we'll probably go through game by game, but it's familiar in the sense that we start off with that Thursday opener, this time against an in-state foe, which will be good, hopefully, for just an overall college football environment to kind of help kick off the football season. But we walk right into a very challenging, week 2 road game. Of course, we put, speaking of familiarity, we play, a power conference, usually an SEC opponent on the road during the course of the season. So we've got that matchup at Tennessee. This year, we've got 3 matchups against teams that will likely play the triple. So that's something that, again, we'll touch base on when we look at those games in particular. But overall, I see familiarity. My odds go towards a week 2 matchup, as we'll talk about. And I think that the easiest, is that the right word? Stretch of the season is likely at the end. So it's going to
Mm.
be essentially how can UAB football, can they make it through the carnage of that, first 8 game stretch, if you will, that will include, I believe, 2 byes. Looking at this,
Yes.
where can they be through 8 games as you get to that final stretch? Will you still be playing for bowl eligibility? Will you still be vying for a conference championship, or will the season be going in the wrong direction? If y'all remember last season, we started off, I think it was 1-6. And so as the time, as we were nearing that final turn of the year, at that point, it felt like all hope was already lost. And so hopefully UAB will be able to get through that first, stretch or 2 of the year in better shape.
Again, hey, YouTube at BlazerPod, y'all comment below, right below this video, and tell us your season record predictions for the UAB team for this year. Um, that week 2 is, hey, since the return, UAB has only won one week 2 matchup, and that was against Akron. Was it 2018? I think.
2019, I believe.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah. Um, and that's it. They've lost every time, every single other time, except
Let
that
me
in week 2.
Well, yeah, the statistics, UAB is 1-7 in week 2 matchups since the return. You mentioned Akron, which is funny because we play Akron this
That's
season
right.
in Birmingham. But this whole week 2 game 2 situation is not unique to our current staff, not the previous staff. In fact, I was looking at today, UAB is 3-17 in week 2 matchups dating back to the 2003 season. So UAB has
Dang.
lost 16 of the last 17, game 2s, if you will. So it's been a hell of a run that we need to turn that bad luck around starting this year.
So, Darian, it's your fault on week 2. Couldn't
Man,
get it done, man.
Well,
probably
usually
is.
UAB would play that big
I
opponent.
was gonna ask Jimmy. I was like, was I part of 2 of those losses? Like, was that
Yeah. Yeah, UAB won against Akron, and I think it was the last, the other 2 wins out of the last 20 were, I think, back in like 2004, 2005. And so
damn?
the Darian Smith teams, and there might have been a bye, and then it was just a second game, statistics. So UAB has not fared well in that second game of the season, but you have to remember UAB for a long time was probably playing 2 power conference teams, and
Yes.
that second week was likely against a Oklahoma or Georgia or Texas A&M or
Yeah.
whoever, Florida. So, those were always going to be difficult matchups.
Yeah,
and I,
Darian,
and
I
I, and
think you
I
had like Tennessee in week 2, I
we
think.
had Florida, I believe, one
Florida.
time. I remember they just kept running sweeps on us.
Hmm. That's a
I can't say
runs
I
up
can't.
days. Yeah.
Those no, what's the defensive coordinator? I can't think of his name. I remember they had Jeff Demps and Chris Rainey, and they just kept running sweeps all day. I can't remember. I went against a first round, second round draft pick in Dominique Easley, and he wasn't all of that. But what I can say is I know sometimes fans may look at it and be like, what is it about week 2? We need to figure this out. Like it's something that, coming from week 1 that's carrying over that UAB isn't doing well as a program. I can tell
Mm.
you this as a player, week 2 is no different than like week 7, unless of course you got fatigue and stuff like that. But there's nothing different about week 2. I guess we just been on the losing end of it. I don't know what else to say about it. We just been on overall as a program. So as a player, coming from a player, that week it doesn't mean anything. Just we just got to go out and win the game. We just haven't been able to do that.
I feel like it is like different since the return though. We haven't been necessarily going against those power matchups in that second game. It's been, it might be like on the road at Coastal or on the road at Ball State, both of which I was in attendance. So you can blame me for those ones, or I'm gonna forget off the top of my head, but it's been like Georgia Southern in Coach Dilfer's first year, Liberty in the interim season for Bryant Vincent. Who did we play last year in week 2? I've already forgot. Oh no, Bryant Vincent again.
Mm.
For
Mhm.
speaking of Bryant Vincent, Louisiana Monroe last year. So it's really been. I feel like at this point, like one could argue that it really is just like a bad dark cloud, like over, that second game before. When Darian was playing it for a long time, I think it was more matchup based. But hopefully this year, in a game at Navy, a conference foe, UAB is able to turn some of that bad luck around.
Let's get into that. Real quick. Will Muschamp was the coach's name.
That's
That
what
was
that's what I
bothering.
kind of I
That was
said that.
bothering me.
Yeah, I
uh,
remember he was a defensive coordinator. I just couldn't think of his name. Yeah.
Real quick though, with week 2 against a conference opponent, with Navy against a triple option. Hey, we can't see, but I got a feeling that this fall camp they might be working on a good bit of a game plan to stop that triple option on
I was about to
defense,
say,
right?
are we skipping Alabama State altogether right
Hey
now?
man,
Like,
respect to the Hornets, respect to
hey,
the Hornets,
I
but
I do want to say this though. When you look at that week 1 matchup against Alabama State, UAB is 6-0 in Thursday night matchup since the return. This doesn't include 2017 when UAB played in Montgomery against Jack State on a Wednesday, Alabama A&M in 2017 on a Saturday. So unlike week 2, UAB's fared well in those opening matchups. UAB hasn't lost an opening week matchup since 2013. I was at that game as well. When I was in school at Troy, it was a 31-34 loss in
I was
overtime.
there. I was there.
Yeah, I was there. But the reason why I say, to Darian's point, that we don't want to overlook week 1 is that the closest of those week 1 matchups was ironically against Alabama State the same year, I believe, in which we won at Akron. We played Alabama State at home. That would have been at Legion. We won 24-19.
I
So
forgot
that was
about
a
that.
5-point win. That was a close game. So we know Alabama State is going to support their team. They're going to have a good environment. I feel like we've seen UAB struggle some early under the existing coaching staff to move the ball or get the ball moved on them. I think last year, going off top of the head here, I believe last year we had some fumbles, some turnovers early that was giving the other team, the advantage field position wise. So hopefully UAB is able to, like they did, I think it was against A&M, maybe in Bryant Vincent's interim season, where it was like the first quarter and we scored like a special teams
Killed them.
touchdown, a defensive touchdown, an offensive touchdown. And it was never close. Hopefully we can do that because if not, we probably aren't in the position right now to feel comfortable against really much of anyone.
Yeah, but I would say this though. I would say I don't want to do that. The reason I say I don't want to do that is in those games, I remember I believe this was Trent's first year. And who was the linebacker that that we made the team captain and he ended up
Bratton.
Oh,
yeah,
Jackson Bratton.
you got
Hmm.
Brad and I remember all those like the defensive line and stuff we had and I just remember telling y'all like we was scoring all these points, but it was some and uneasiness there as far as
Yeah.
I'm like I don't like how this offensive line is like they were getting like 4 yards a pop run, 6 yards. I'm like, this team shouldn't be kind of bullying us, and we'll get like a turnover or something like that because they, I don't know if it was last year or that year that they just couldn't throw the ball at all.
Was it
So
NCAT? Are we talking about
NCAT,
NCAT?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I remember like NCAT, like so we take lessons. I remember NCAT they couldn't throw the ball at all,
Yeah.
but they was like giving us all that we could handle. And I'm looking at it like, yeah, we're able to pray and we can load the box up to stop their run, and they don't have a quarterback at all. They could have had me out there, I
Yeah.
probably but to me, that's not a positive sign that you can game plan because this team has a very specific weakness that you can game plan for.
Mm.
You want to be able to go against those teams and say, my player is better than your player. I can kick their butt. Right. So I don't know what John has going
Yeah, I don't
on.
know what.
No, no, no. So, so I just noticed that the Navy. Hold on. Is this game played in neutral location? Did y'all
That should
notice it?
be in no, that should be in Annapolis,
Yeah,
right?
Indianapolis. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, are you going to make another appearance? Are we going to get another John what before we go any further, what is you go on a trip every year, if not multiple, what road games? Are you going to Tennessee?
I will not go to any road games this year.
We're going to talk John into going to a road game. Somebody pay for John to go to a road game. He'll go.
Hey, if that happens, I'm down for it. But I'm not. I will not spend any money to go to the
I
road
want to see
game.
you. It must be a TV game, and you must be wearing your rain jacket, your BVP rain jacket, and you must have two beverages in your hand, and you must be yelling at some call on the field, like we need to get you on TV again. No, but good point, Darren. Like that's going to be. I think I wrote down like my question is, will UAB, or I should say, will Alabama State, create like a sweat for UAB fans? That's a 7:30 kick on a Thursday night. Well, we're going to be sitting at 9:30 p.m. in Protective Stadium, and it's a 3-point game, going to the Blazer Thunder. Or is UAB going to be with a big lead? To your point, it would probably be good if we face some adversity, but I'd like to face that adversity for like the first like quarter and a half. I'd like to put them to sleep.
Well, I'm not even saying that I want us to face adversity per se. It's that I want us to score in ways that it looked like we should be scoring
Mm,
versus, oh, we have a special teams, or like, oh, look, they have an extremely weak quarterback,
yeah.
and we can just pray in, but we couldn't stop their run with a couple guys, with 6 guys in the box, 7 guys in the box. We had to load it up and send exotic pressures because we're getting our butts kicked.
Mm,
Like I can go
Whew.
back to NCAT, and I remember looking, I'm like, dude, we're kind of getting our butts kicked. Like we need to like drop a safety down. That's what we got to do against. And then we end up winning that game by big points. And it's kind of like that masked everything that went wrong. But I
yeah.
remember having that feeling like, I don't know. And that
Yeah.
feeling ended up being correct. And we were horrible on defense, right? That whole year. So I'm gonna be paying attention. Like one thing Trent talked about is like how this team fit. He felt like he got good players for the scheme that they want to run. So I want to see us dominate in the ways that we're supposed to dominate. I'm going to be looking for us to get movement on both sides of the line. I'm going to be looking for our skill players to win their one-on-ones. I'm going to be looking for our quarterback. Please, no dumb,
Turnovers. Yeah. Please.
no. If I see one, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I'm dropping my shoulders. But if I see him throw the ball away when there's no play to make, that's gonna give me hope. Something so simple. If I see a couple of touchbacks, you gotta know what to look for in that first game because the biggest thing is the line play because we got
Yeah.
Navy. I know that's a good
Mm.
segue. We got Navy there next week, so I
Hmm.
want to see if our offensive line and defensive line, can they play smart, mistake-free football together, and can they play physical? Because Navy is going to fire off the ball. They're going to know where they're going to go. They know what they want to do, and they're going to do it. Their whole game is, can you stop it? Can you physically
Hmm.
stop us? I don't know. We'll get some answers against when we play Alabama State.
Last two things on that. Please no rain on the home opener. Please rain stay away for that game.
Please. Yeah.
And then are we going to say our prediction like game by game and see if we all three agree? Or are we going to give like a final prediction? What do you want to do, John?
Let's do yeah, each after each game. So
Are we in
I'll do
unison?
W. Yeah.
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 All three say win.
Yes.
All right, Blazers are 1-0. Let's go ahead and cut the show and let's end the season. Y'all have a good night.
Woohoo! Let's go, baby. So yeah. So the next game at Navy, week 2. This is the most important game this season. As we said last year, week 2 against ULM. But you're playing in conference. AAC opener week 2. Darian just said it. We know what Navy wants to do. Navy's not gonna turn the ball over. They're gonna be very methodical. Ground and pound. Now, I will say last year, I think they threw like a go route or something right before halftime. So they can do other things, but obviously it's a triple option. You got to stop that fullback. Got to stop the quarterback. But if you can't, especially if you can't stop that fullback, 5, 6 yards a carry, long day. Anybody that plays against the triple option, but let's just hope that they work on during fall camp a lot of Navy, Army. Because hey, you're going to see 2 triple options teams this year, so I know that they're going to work on some of it, but um, really don't have to game plan against Alabama State. Again, all respect. I remember the game at Legion Field. I think UAB needed a goal line stand to even squeak out the victory. Um, but yeah, and Navy, let's just keep it competitive. If we go to Annapolis and get blown out, that's going to be tough, guys.
Well, how many times have we talked about just that opportunity to build momentum to start the season and like ultimately Um, you've only got so many opportunities to catch the attention of those outside the loyal, core fan base that are going to be there almost exclusively no matter what. And there's a big difference in getting a road game in front of a nationally televised audience against a respectable team, getting that first road win, something to build upon, and being 2-0 with an opportunity to head into week 3 at home again, a game in which you would likely be favored against Akron. And envision again that momentum building at being 3-0 heading into a vital matchup, a big opportunity again on a national stage, early kick against a very good Tennessee team with a lot of storylines there. So versus a 30-point blowout, on the road. And here we go again. The same thing as, most recent seasons. Now we're 1-8 in that second game. And now we're going against Akron. How many people outside of us are going to care, And then you're 2-1, and that's still good. But there's some kind of cachet about being an undefeated team, 3-0 through 3 weeks that UAB has not done. I don't know when's the last time UAB football started off 3-0, and they've got an opportunity to do that here, and hopefully they're going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah. I probably have a little different take here because I feel like you're kind of playing with house money a little bit because nobody is going to expect you to win this game at Navy. I think momentum looks like we just set the score 24-19 about Alabama State versus us a couple years ago. Well, if they have a goal line stand to beat us, I'm looking around. I'm like, hey guys, we got something that we can build off of.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's on the road. That mean we play good defensive football. What if we took care of the ball and we got a couple
Speak
first
it into
downs?
existence. Speak it.
But I want the win. I want the win. But I think momentum looks like, hey, if week 2 on the road against Navy, one of the top teams predictably in the AAC, if we can go out there and look like a competent real football team,
I'll take it.
it's too many games.
Hmm.
When we think about Tulane, and when we think about Navy, and when we think about
Army,
Army, and when we think about Memphis, we
Memphis.
did not look like a competent football team. We looked like a D2 team, right? and that's embarrassing. I don't. That's more than football. That's a hit to your pride. That's a hit to your program. But if we go out there and we look like a team that can compete against that triple option, and we can look professional. And the main thing I'm going to look for is that game. Can they do whatever they want against us? They did whatever they wanted against us because we couldn't stop anything. If we can stop the run, if they can hit big passes, but that's the only thing they do or something like that, we force them into doing one thing, I'm happy. I think you can build off of that. Ultimately, I want to win, but I'm gonna go ahead. I don't expect us to win that game, so it's a loss for me. But I think how we look is far more important. I actually think the next game is the most important game.
One thing you said that was interesting, John. Well, one thing you said that made me think about this is that game prep and how I guess in theory you could argue that how much game prep you have to dedicate to Alabama State. We're going to hear, as we should, from the coaching staff. I would envision that the focus is on Alabama State. Now, with that being said, it reminded me of last offseason when we heard a lot of kind of chatter about Louisiana Monroe and how much time they dedicated to UAB all
Mm.
offseason. And so now we've got that opportunity to dedicate with this new defensive staff a lot of our attention this offseason to that week two matchup. I'm not saying that's the direction that they're going to take, but it made me think about that. So I'd be curious, and it's not just them. Again, it's a matchup just a few weeks later against Army as well, and a future date opponent in Rice that'll have some elements of that offensively with a new coaching staff as well. So, they still have an opportunity, the coaching staff, to really spend a lot of time on the triple this offseason without saying it's focused on Navy in particular. But I'd be interested if to be a fly on the wall, in that offseason planning and just how much attention they're going to put towards Navy. I would also say, and no, I mean, I guess I'll give you a spoiler. It's going to be difficult for me to project a road win right now based on the first two seasons of, outcomes. But I would also say that this would be a loss. But I agree with you guys that it would be great if UAB can have a competitive showing and build some goodwill or some good thoughts heading into that Akron matchup.
Yeah, I'm at a L2 for Navy. Darian, I'm assuming you're agreeing too. Off.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
loss.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Would y'all take this late fourth quarter, UAB down by 7 with the ball on offense with an opportunity to tie it
Yes.
Yeah, if you told me that now, yeah, absolutely.
in a heartbeat? And
Yeah. When you
I would
think
take that in
about
all game.
the last three matchups against service academies, we've lost 18 to 41, 10 to 44, and 6 to 31. So, I mean, they haven't been close.
Mm-mm. All right, so week 3, UAB welcomes Akron Zips, who cannot go to a bowl game this year. We found that out during the offseason. Akron has a bowl ban. So will the Zips be fired up
Well, for
to?
academics too, they have was it AP? I mean, I didn't know that was still a thing. Like we're
Mm.
still doing bowl
The
bans for
NCAA? Yeah, hey,
Yeah,
it's a
academics.
thing.
Like, is there no way that is honestly like, is there no way, I'm half joking here, that the team for Akron could sue the NCAA and say they're limiting their earning potential of going to a bowl game based on NIL, and then they would just win a lawsuit or they just have a temporary injunction and go to a bowl game. So I'm surprised these days whenever I hear about that NCAA enforcing, something, but I guess it still happens. So everybody, UAB football players, please do your summer classes. Please make good
Yes.
grades. Let's not have any APR sanctions.
No. And didn't Tennessee did that a few years ago when they got the like a sanction, they just turned around and sued the NCAA and got their they got it back.
So what we're learning is Akron can't afford good lawyers. So someone
Yeah, I was gonna say they
NCAA
don't.
gotta flex their muscle on somebody nowadays. They don't
Yeah,
have too much power. You think
that's
they're gonna tell the SEC and Greg Sankey what to do? No, Greg Sankey is gonna be like, "Us, shut up." Like
And
we're gonna
damn, they're
play.
gonna bully that. They're gonna kick the Mac in the balls and take it to the Zips.
But this is
Well,
this game against Akron, I think to me is the most important. All because I feel like this competition is a step above Alabama State.
Mm.
But so it's still a step below the navies and the Florida Atlantics and the armies of the world. So I think this is a good barometer. It's the same way that we kind of viewed ULM going into last year, right? So I think ULM is a better team, but it's that same. You remember at that time ULM was like the number was
Oh
the
yeah, like
last team.
135 or
last, yep,
134 or something.
Yeah,
yep.
so Akron in that sense, they can't go to a bowl game. I'm not disrespecting the Zips. I don't know anything about the Zips. All I'm going off is perception, right? And that we're at home, I'm assuming that we will be favored in that game, depending on if we show up against Navy at all, right? I'm assuming that we will be favored in that game. I think to me, this is the game that's going to show you the most about the rest of the season. If we go and we lose to Akron at home,
Hmm.
we might as well if I'm the AD, I will just go ahead and fire Trent. Honestly, I am being completely honest here. What's the point? You lost to Akron. There's no way that kills all momentum, all fan support. The season
Hmm.
is done. You lose at home to Akron. Let's be real, guys. Season is done. You can lose on the road to Navy and you can still got okay, we got something. Losing at home to Akron and going 1-2, already starting
Yeah.
off the season. So you're gonna go, yeah.
I don't know if you can get. Yeah, I don't know if you can get to your point. I don't think you can get to 6 wins without
No,
beating Akron in
right.
this
That's
That's
matchup.
a must win. Must
Yeah.
win.
so as far as a barometer for the rest of the season and a must win just for your win totals for the season, you have to have that game. So to me, people may look at the schedule and be like, that's not even a conference game. It's where it's scheduled at, the timing and the opponent, the level of opponent, and it's at home. Oh man, come on. Like, because you're gonna get like, I mean, we can pretty much say we can predict Tennessee already. You're gonna, get that L, right?
Right.
So you have to get this one. If we already predicting that L to Navy, all right. And if you mess around and you don't get that one, hey, I'm sorry. I know my morale, me personally. Ooh, my tone is gonna go super negative. And I think that everybody's tone around it's deserving, it's deserved at that point. I don't want to hear any excuses or man, you should support. Hey, listen, well, I'm supporting, but this is reality. So that
Hmm.
game is the one that I'm looking at the most.
We can't let the team that's not eligible for a bowl knock us out of bowl contention
Right.
the third
Right.
week of the season. Well, I did note that Akron does play at Nebraska the week prior to this game. UAB's
Oh,
got
good.
a tough matchup at Navy. I did see here that Akron went 4-8 this past year, but they did win their final 2 games. They beat Toledo. I think it was in their final matchup, and Toledo was a pretty good.
Yeah.
So Akron, I kind of without knowing much about their program, probably don't have a lot of respect for them, so it's like seeing that they did win 4 games and they did beat a good Toledo team. I think they've got their coach coming back, is cause for concern. I did have a little flashback here. We talked about that 2019 game against Tulsa. So I was looking back at some of the statistics. UAB, I should say Akron. UAB at Akron in 2019. So UAB led 31-6 heading into the fourth quarter. That was a game where Akron had the turnover pencil. If you
Yes.
remember seeing that on the sideline.
Yes.
And so Tyler Johnston, had 4 touchdowns, and UAB's wide receivers were Austin Watkins, Myron Mitchell, Kendall Parham. Spencer Brown was
Mhm.
leading the running back room, and UAB had Hayden Pittman and Garrett Prince both at tight end. Talk about like a stacked like offense, and just Tyler Johnson throwing bombs there at Akron was a kind of a cool flashback. But I would say I picked UAB to win this matchup. I would envision that you guys agree and that we see the
Yes,
Blazers go to 2-1.
Agreed.
agreed.
We
2-1. All
bet.
right. You're gonna go 2-2 the next week at Tennessee. So yeah, we'll just skip that. Um, so 2-2.
Okay, are
Army.
you the only thing I'll say about Tennessee is I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting that Tennessee will have at least one, if not two, I think, former players of Trent Dilfer. So there's an Edwin Spillman, redshirt freshman linebacker from Lipscomb Academy. Obviously, I envision there's Caleb Beasley, sophomore defensive back from Lipscomb. So that will be interesting for Trent Dilfer to coach some of the players that he did at Lipscomb Academy. And I'm sure this Tennessee team is stacked with players from, Tennessee high schools. So there'll be a lot of connections there. Trent Dilfer going back to the state of Tennessee, playing against some of his former players. It's going to be a heavy line. It's going to be that type of offense. They're the ones that can just you blink an eye and it's 28-0, in the first quarter and it's, over. I was at the last Tennessee game. I will not be
Me
going back. It
too.
was way too tight in that UAB section. Way too long of a walk from the parking deck to the stadium. And that y'all remember that was Dylan Hopkins got to get in the fourth quarter,
Yes.
and he threw a little dump off pass, I think, for a touchdown, and like that was like you know, you start to see that transition of Tyler Johnston to Dylan Hopkins or whatever. But that kind of feels like yesterday, but also feels like 10 years ago. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. That's 2-2, no doubt.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I think you've got the first of two bye weeks. I
Hmm.
think that first bye week comes at a good time after your
Yes.
money game or whatever we want to call it at Tennessee. Give a week, give a week's rest, and then Army comes to the triple option. Um, it's going to be set up if you can come into this game 2-2. You know, I mean, maybe you can get Navy. Well, realistically, no. So you're going to come in the 2-2 at worst 1-3. Um, but second conference game against another triple option team. Um, I mean, Army is a little different. They do a little more shotgun triple option as compared to Navy. Thank God that quarterback's gone. What's his name?
I was about to ask you,
Yeah.
is White Cam Newton coming back?
The glass eater is
He,
gone.
thank God he's gone. No, the Navy quarterback, Horvath, I think he's back.
Hmm.
But yeah, thank God the Army quarterback's good. I saw all that I could care to see in
Was
West
that
Point
OC
was
Brothers? One of our linebackers, like in the first possession. That
truck or
yeah.
yeah. God.
Vanilla Cam to
Oh my God. But hey, realistically, hey, second conference game, what kind of read do you have on Army? Steve Russ played coached against the triple option at Air Force. Can UAB at home find a way to keep this close? Like hopefully they
Yep.
do in week two.
I think this is going to be the game where all the data that we've
Yeah.
collected from the previous games going to give us an inkling if because this game right now, I mean, on paper you look at it and you look at the history and you say, dude, we had Tulane and all these other people at home and we got smashed. We had Navy at home, it didn't matter. We got smashed. But if this is really a new team, which it really is, like if we talk about the players and we talk about the
Hmm.
staff, but if it's really more professional and which it should be, and if we're really believing everything that we hear, then to tell you that we have a chance because we're it means that we're competent in some kind of way, right? So I'm looking at that game and I'm saying, hey, if we can play some solid football and if the data, and this is the optimistic view, this isn't a realist, this isn't a prediction, it's an optimistic view. If that is true, we got a shot to win that game, y'all. Because we still don't even know
Mm.
how Army will look. I mean,
True.
losing that quarterback is a big deal. He was a
Oh
good,
yeah.
really, really good player. I would you can make an argument that he was more important to Army than Horvath was to Navy. You can
Agree.
make that argument, right? So if they have if a quarterback that sucks at Army, I don't know. They always have a lot of turnover at Army. It's a service academy, right? And we're playing at home, and we believe in ourselves. Maybe we are 3-1 going into that game. Maybe that's not the realistic view. More than likely, we're two. We could be 1-3. It's such a wide range. It's such a spectrum. But I wouldn't predict this to win. But it's not like one of those. It's not like me looking at Navy week 2 and saying, "Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna lose that one." I'm not looking at that game like that. If you're asking me if I'm a bid man, I probably would say, "Yeah, I'll take Army." Minus, 3.5. Like, give them 3.5. Honestly, that's what I would do. But that's right now. Now, when all of those games get played, I might say, give me Army 17. you know, But
Sheesh.
right now, I'm gonna say Army 3.5,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see how it all play out.
You know what's interesting about this game is this past season for UAB, the fourth opponent was Navy at home. This year, I guess the fifth opponent is Army at home.
Hmm.
But when we faced Navy at home, the game prior we had faced Arkansas on the road, and then we had a bye. We had a decent showing against Arkansas with the lead early. We were at Cahaba Brewing Company, thinking, okay, well, it can't get any worse than Louisiana Monroe, and the team responded and came right out and took it to Arkansas early, right? They smacked them right in the mouth, and then Arkansas came back late. And then we had a bye, and then we had Navy coming in, and unfortunately UAB got a little stomped 41-18. Like so,
Hmm.
it's interesting we had a similar situation in which SEC opponent bye triple. So hopefully UAB is able to fare better than they did in that game. I would say. I think Darian was saying earlier, kind of like this isn't like the same vibes as like at Navy. Like UAB should have a chance in this game because
Home.
it's at home. UAB, even despite some of the poor outcomes in the first 2 years under staff, still played okay at Protective Stadium. I think Army is probably going to have a pretty big fan base there. So Army is going to bring some contingency there. I remember Navy having a good little showing as well. So it's going to be a really hard game. Apparently, it's tougher to get a ticket to that game on Ticketmaster or whatever. The ticket's as low as $51. It's the most difficult game to get in at Protective. It looks like Memphis $41. You can get into Alabama State for 32. So go ahead and get your tickets right now because they're flying off the shelves. And it's probably Army fans, that
Oh
are
yeah.
buying tickets to that game. So here's a little plug to go ahead and buy your tickets. But yeah, I would predict that UAB would fall short in this game. But kind of like we are talking about the Navy game earlier, is will UAB, unlike their game against Navy at home this past season, keep it competitive and demonstrate that there's improvement on that roster?
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah, I just
I'm
want to
I'm
make it clear that I'm not looking at that game the same way I'm looking at that Navy game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. Now, if they get blown out at Navy, I mean, that we probably definitely not against Army. So, hey, and that same night, October 4th, Jimmy Eat World is playing at Furnace Fest. So I will be at Jimmy Eat World. So,
There you go.
yeah,
I
maybe
have no idea.
enjoy.
I have no idea who that is, but he sounds lit though.
He sounds so
I like his
silly.
name.
Oh my gosh. Huh. So we're 2-3 right now. 2-3
Yeah.
at FAU. Maybe the first road win at FAU. What do y'all think?
$20 to get into that game. I mean, that's the cheapest game you can get through all dang season. Do y'all remember, was it the last time we played at FAU? Was it when Zeno, was it
Yes.
like his first start? And I remember there was like, we were charging down the field, and I think, Zeno threw a pass and they got intercepted, I think, the whole way.
T-Pong. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw one of the CBS college football, people had said Zeno, when it went the other way or whatever. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, hey, $20 for a ticket. Boca is a beautiful place. I've been to that stadium for the bowl win, which was awesome. So good trip if you want to make that in October. Um, this is a winnable game. Like this is a winnable game. I don't know what you put the odds at, but if you told me, FAU would be the slight favorite, UAB's got maybe it's like a 60-40, split probability wise. FAU would win the game. That's good enough to make it close. Anything can happen. FAU's got a new coaching staff. I think they went with the young gun, offensive minded coach, if I remember right, who's in his first year. So how will their early season play out leading up to that game? But it's again going back to if we're saying Navy predicted loss, Tennessee predicted loss, that would put us almost 2.5 seasons through with still no road win. This would be as good of a chance as any, and hopefully UAB is able to pick up that much needed first one.
Yeah, I think this game will be interesting because Trent came in that same year with those same batch of coaches. Who
Yeah.
was it off? Who was at Florida Atlantic? What's his name?
Tom Herman.
You
Tom
had Tom
Herman.
Herman, and then you had at Tulsa.
What was his name?
I can't remember the coach at
He
Tulsa,
came
and
from
then
Ohio State.
yeah, and then you had Biff. You
Biff
had Biff
Poggi.
at you had him at Charlotte. They all came in at that same time, and Biff is out. The coach at Tulsa, I believe, is out,
Yeah,
and Tom Herman got the boot.
right.
But we quadrupled down on saying that I don't. That's what the AD said. That's what Mark Ingram said. He said no, we're going to stick with this and we're going to work this out. So this is the reason I'm looking at. I honestly think this. I don't have no idea about what Florida Atlantic looked like this year. New coach. I don't know anything about their players, so I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I know what's going on at FAU. I do not. What I do know is it should be a winnable game. It's a new coach. It probably will be like a 50-50 depending on what the data says when we go against the other teams. But me just looking at it now, I would say toss up. And as a Blazer fan, I know it's a road game. I know how we are on the road. I don't care about any of that, honestly, because I feel like each year brings on a life of its own. That's just how I roll. Um, so as a Blazer fan, and with the stakes what they are, I if we win against Akron, and if Trent is still with us at that point, I expect us to win that game. I really do. And so I'm gonna go W for that
I'm good.
game.
I'm gonna go W too because the FAU at UConn, at Rice, at Tulsa. You better win two out of those four road games. And I
And
think
I
yeah, you're good.
is FAU one of the most winnable
hmm
one you look at that, John?
That and Tulsa, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the same. Yep.
hmm
I won't give us a lock at three, but the win, the two votes for win beats the one vote for loss. I certainly hope you guys are right. What would that put us at? 3-3?
So 3-3, yes.
Okay. That's not bad through 6 games.
Now you got a rivalry game the next week as Memphis Battle for the Bones in Protective Stadium. Um, I was talking with somebody earlier this week at work, and he has a connection to a Memphis fan works in his department. He was saying, hey, he's hearing things from camp or from summer workouts or spring ball or whatever heading into fall camp. They've got O-line problems at
Oh,
Memphis.
okay.
Sound familiar?
Hey,
Man.
quarterback,
Dude,
quarterback gone too, right?
it's
Yeah.
gone, man.
Yeah.
Hennigan's gone. Yeah, no more Hennigan.
I
So
mean,
a rivalry game. I mean, I'm still
I,
gonna say L. I'm still gonna say L. But I mean, if you can somehow beat Army or FAU,
Well, that'd be huge.
John,
Yeah.
John, go back to the first year under Trent when we
Yeah.
had rotating three quarterbacks, and
Hmm.
we was kind of giving them hell. We was giving them
yeah,
all they could handle for a
the
while.
first half, yeah.
Yeah, I think it proved that they weren't. To me, Memphis has never been like a juggernaut. I'm sorry, like they just. When I looked at Navy and when I saw them last year, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get smashed. Like you can see them pop. Horvath is kind of like a special athlete type of makes really good decisions. I don't see that in Memphis. I'm not gonna even. I don't like this team, and I'm not gonna even give a prediction here. I'm gonna just let John handle it because I'm not gonna say that we're gonna lose
What?
to Memphis. Now, listen, if we're healthy, if we're healthy, and we're competitive, and it's at home, and Memphis got O-line problems. Memphis got a new quarterback. Hey, I'm not gonna say that we're gonna lose. I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry, I can't say that. I want this game because you had Russo and Chris Bracey go over there.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Shout out to those guys. Still blaze of love, but I mean, come on.
come
I
on.
never say nothing negative against them. They played and they gave us some good minutes here. And so it's never anything personal, but that adds a little gasoline to the
Wow.
fire. So
Mhm.
I just can't predict. I can't predict the loss. So I'll let y'all handle that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
glad you brought
say
up those returning Blazers. That does add an interesting element to what is already a rivalry. Unlike basketball, to Darian, like as Darian was talking, it made me think like, yeah, I pretty much fear you Memphis basketball. Based on like, y'all know how I feel. I don't want to even see
Mhm.
Memphis basketball at this point. Now, at Bartow's different, but I definitely don't want to be in FedEx. But with all that being said, I don't fear Memphis football. They've won three
Thank
straight
you.
against, UAB, but UAB still leads the all-time series against Memphis in football. So I don't fear Memphis. I think you bring up some good points about the quarterback leaving. I would be lying if I said I know who's going to take the reins at quarterback for Memphis. I know they have a lot of money, which we've talked about, and so I guess don't know why they're struggling on offensive line. I guess we're lucky that the portal closes at some point, or they would just throw some more money around. So if they didn't make good use of their 10x salary cap, then good. And hopefully UAB is able to win a game. It's that protective. Memphis does have a bye the week prior to this game, so
Mm.
that's just a little note to think about. But yeah, why the hell not? But I would pick logically, I would pick UAB to lose this game, but I think that UAB can win this game.
I agree. So I'm gonna say L too. But
That's
they
three
can
and
win
four.
it 3-4 heading into the bye week. Coming off the second bye week, UAB travels up to Connecticut to take on the Yukon Huskies in a game UAB should have won last year, up by 17 at halftime, I believe. Um, Hey, let's get it done. 11 o'clock, nobody's going to be there. UConn, they're going to be tuned into basketball season in November, and nobody ain't going to be there. Ain't
It's gonna
nobody.
be cold, probably. It's gonna be getting cold.
Matthew Vincent might be there, but ain't nobody going to be there. I'm going to say
Empty.
just, hey, dub. If you can't get the first road win against Navy or FAU, Trent will get it here at UConn, I think.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We didn't get the dub at home
It's
last year.
UConn, bro. It's
We said
UConn.
that last year. We got beat.
What?
So
True.
I would say honestly, and this is I might as well put these two together. I say we lose UConn, win Rice.
But Jimmy,
New coaching staff at Rice. not that same kind of. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to switch up their identity. They're usually
Mhm.
pretty tough and kind of like I hate playing.
Intellectual brutality.
Yeah, get out of here with that, dog. I hate that.
Oh,
That's the
he
most.
he got it. He got fired.
Yeah, like okay, smart, brutal man, you got fired. But I honestly think that we'll lose at UConn because I mean, like you said, it's kind of a weird game, but I
Mhm.
think we win against Rice, and I think that's how I just put that together. Like I don't
I,
know anything about either one of the two teams because
no.
at this in this day and age, I think guys are like be lying to you if they tell you that they did know, especially at this level. It's too much movement, player
Mhm.
and staff related. So I think that so I'm gonna just put both of those games together, and I think we go 1-1 there.
Yeah, I mean, we're still 71 days till kickoff. So we're here on June 18th talking about we haven't watched much film on ourselves and know much about ourselves. We sure as hell don't know who UConn's gonna be rocking with on their starting five on the front
Starting
line.
five.
Like, we don't the hell know. Yeah, it's a long trip. It's a weird game. We just saw our team lose to them. I mean, they got a good coach. They're not. It's again, as you will see other matchups, it is a winnable game. It would be a difficult game. Would I be shocked if we won? No, I do think that it's a harder road game than Rice and Tulsa in
Mhm.
FAU, though. When you look across those, final four road games, I'd say that's probably the most difficult road game in my opinion. So I'm gonna say loss on that to Darian's as we skip ahead to
Right.
Rice.
Mhm.
Man, I just don't like Rice. I feel
Beat
like
that ass last season.
yeah, I don't remember a thing about that game. I saw that in our schedule today. I'm like, we played Rice? Like I remember Rice. I remember the holding call on whatever it was Trey Hearn, like in the touchdown to Shropshire, they got called back at home.
Mm.
I remember Flip Rudolph with the touchdown and the game of COVID and all that stuff happening. And like I remember like these other games, but damn, I can't remember a 1 ounce of what happened, against Rice last year. Um, but I'm gonna keep things simple. It's still hard for me. Again, 71 days out. I know it's last year. I know it's the year before, but until we win a road game, it's hard for me to envision us doing so. If I am to pick a road win, it would be at Tulsa, which we'll talk about later. But I would pick a loss here. So, but are you guys both a win? Darren's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I think okay.
It'd be two
Well,
straight road wins for John. We get that, but we
well,
get that.
no, no. I think we lose one of UConn or Rice. So, we'll just say we'll win one of them and
And we'll
come
be
in
4-5.
4-5 heading into North Texas, or come North Texas heading into Protective Stadium.
Nice.
So 4-5.
And
You
we
got
go
three.
5-5.
Ooh, get the mean
Agree.
green.
Agree. I got us winning this game.
Oh, okay. Hey,
No
I'm not
respect.
gonna. No, hey, I'm not
I
gonna
got
be a
no
Debbie
respect for
Downer.
North Texas.
I ain't gonna be no Debbie Downer. So we're gonna just mark it as 5-5.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. And two games. You gotta get one of them. South Florida at home or at Tulsa.
UAB is bowl eligible versus South Florida, baby.
We play
We
South
beat
Florida
them.
good.
Ooh,
We South
yeah,
We
Florida
we
is
we
good, but we play them good.
and we're
that's
gonna be
true.
at home and we're gonna be 5-5 and we're gonna start getting a little momentum, right? And we're gonna be feeling ourselves a little bit.
Senior
Trent is
day.
gonna yeah, Trent is gonna
Yeah.
be talking a little bit more. We're gonna have to tell Trent to calm down. Don't say nothing. Don't say anything to damage what's going on, man. Like just calm down a little bit. Steve Russ has proved that his professionalism was indeed what the team needed by this point. We go 6-5, bowl eligible. We
Ooh, let's
we back.
go.
I
South
got UAB
Florida.
winning that game. Yep. I got UAB winning that one.
Let's freaking go, man. 6-5 at Tulsa at the end of the year. If you beat South Florida, you sure as hell gonna beat Tulsa at
We
Tulsa.
gonna we gonna swag on Tulsa.
Swag,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, we
So,
swagging on them. We're gonna beat them by at least 17. So
so if they win the last two games, they would be 7-5. But Also, if this is your first road win, would that be 6-6? Like, or no, you got to beat. Well, we would have to beat two teams on the road, right? To go bowling. What were we talking about? The FAU, Yukon, Rice, Tulsa. You got to get two of those, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to. So from this, if we're saying Tulsa is an automatic win, you have
Mm.
to be either Rice, UConn.
Or
To,
FAU.
yeah, let's let not FAU, no Navy. No, no,
Oh
no,
shoot.
not L or FAU. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But if we're crossing out Tennessee and Navy,
Okay.
FAU, UConn, or Rice, along with Tulsa.
So we got it 7-5. That's a pretty good season.
I
That
think that would be like almost best case scenario, like high
yes.
end. That's high. I
But
But
think
at the same, but at the same time, we gave a pretty realistic. It's not far
not
fetched. Is what I'm
right.
it could
saying.
definitely happen. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
definitely within the realm of possibilities. I think that Tulsa game, I have as we're going through our projections, our predictions, like I would be pleasantly surprised if UAB is at 6 wins. I think in a good if I was looking at on the positive end of my prediction, I'd say like UAB is probably walking into that Tulsa game with 5 wins, and then that
Mhm.
Tulsa game would be what gets them to 6. And I'd still be, if you told me now, kind of like we were talking about earlier, fourth quarter, you're down 7 with the ball at Navy. If I told you right now we're five and
Take it.
six heading
Take it.
in at Tulsa, would you take it now? I feel like
Take
I
it all
would.
day. All day,
It
bro.
doesn't sound sexy, but it's like, at this
No.
point, it's like we'd be having something to. You go into the last game of the season and you have what your objective is, the title of this episode, will UAB go bowling? You're heading the final week, and that's still a possibility. So I take it. Um, but or if UAB is walking into that, that could be the final game. Like what happens? I'll give you this example through all of that, last question, if UAB is 5 and 6, we head in that matchup, we win. I think no doubt Dilfer's back,
Hmm.
administration's back. But if
Hmm.
UAB goes 5 and 6 and loses that game and ends the season 5 and 7, do
Hmm.
you feel that there'd be changes at
Yes,
coach? Yeah.
yes.
Do you think so, John?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because I was thinking in my head, I was like, what if they go 5-7? We talk about that they have to get to a bowl game, but 5-7 would be an improvement from the first 2 years. They won 4 games first year, 3 games last year, and then 5 games. But I still think you got to go. You have to go bowling. Yeah, I agree. He's gone if they don't go bowling.
What if Akron makes a bowl, has to forfeit their bowl, and then they invite a 5 and 7 team? I'm just kidding. So yeah, I lean towards agreeing with y'all. I'm just curious, like if we were 5 and 6, we lose on 3 straight missed field goals or whatever the hell happens in the last game of the year on the road. Reminiscent of Charlotte last year, but we were competitive a lot throughout the season, much more no super big blowouts. I would leave a little ounce of
I guess
possibility.
I guess if in that scenario, like if there's no like if we lose respectively, like
Yeah.
every game, not it
Yeah.
can't be a
Yeah,
game. And even Tennessee, I want us to compete with Tennessee. I want us to show that hey, I would leave it. I honestly would leave it open because to me that shows that a lot of progress was made. And in this age of football,
mm,
if you have something that you can build on in this NIL era, especially if you're a G5 school, you need to stick with that because I feel like you're going all the way back and you're resetting and you're going back and trying to figure it back out. This is the Wild West, and
mm,
whether we like it or not, Trent has experience in it now.
Hmm.
So if you go out and you hire another coach that hasn't dealt with this version of football, being the head guy, you have no idea what's going on. So he's been through the fire. He has the experience. Um, and if he can be competitive and we not get blown out and we still go 5 and 6, honestly, I would say, hey, give him one more year. That would be my deal. That's the only way.
yeah.
If it's two games we get blown out, I'm like, nah. Nah.
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't care about the Tennessee game. I mean if they get killed, whatever. But if in every other game, if you're competitive and you lose by what 14 points or less at Navy, you lose by less than 14
Just Memphis and
College
Army.
football is
against
so crazy.
Memphis
Wait, I
or
mean,
Army. Yeah,
yeah, college football is so crazy. We could be sitting here and damn Jalen Kitna goes down in week 3, and then we're with a backup quarterback, and you win 5 games. And be like, well, that's probably pretty good, considering those circumstances. So, but here's one thing, as we kind of get ready to close, is like, hell, we
Mhm.
are rooting for bowl eligibility. We are
Let's
rooting for
go.
7 wins. Like we want, we want to see this team and this staff succeed. The last couple of years has been so awful. But I want to see
Mhm.
that competitiveness, and I want to hopefully, not have any media snafus. I want everything to go smooth. Focus on football. No weird headlines throughout the season.
Please
Talking
don't.
about poaching or other stuff. Just let's just rock. Let's be competitive. Let's hopefully
Hmm.
reach that bowl game. Build upon something. So that's what we're all rooting for, man.
Yes. Let's just shut the hell up and play ball. Leave it
Yeah.
all on the field
And
and let.
and have an identity, bro.
Yes, yes.
Like when was the last time this squad has had an identity?
Have they ever had an identity with
With this squad, I was going to say Brant
Uh,
Vincent, his interim season, we carrying that identity from the Clark.
definitely, yeah. Well, under the deal for area, have we ever had an
Not an
identity?
identity that you'd want to say is a
Oh,
good
wait,
season. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we could talk about second half, scores and, blown leads and, this and that, but not an identity that we'd want to carry forward.
Mm-mm. Well, the Vegas win total has UAB 4.5 wins. So I think we're going over. I would not bet my money on.
Yeah.
But hey, we're looking forward to having a better football season. You can sure as hell bet on Blazer Victory Podcast being along for the ride, win or lose. We've proven that for what 5, 6 years now. I forget how many years we've been doing this, but we will definitely be there for you fans. But we're definitely pulling for a trend over in this football program.
You heard
Hey,
us.
yeah,
So put your comment. I was gonna say, put your comment down there. You heard our prediction right now. 71 days from the season, we're rocking with 7-5 right now. So what do you guys think? We gave our opinion. We appreciate and respect y'all's opinion too. We get it if it's higher or lower, but let us know what you think. And let us know what road game do you want John to go on because we're gonna
and
go
he's
on a
gonna
road
look
game.
just like that. He's gonna
Yes,
be just
yes.
like that, baby. And then it's so many things that you can say based off of this season. It's like so many storylines that can come from this. You
yeah.
know, if we how important is this season for the program? Period. How
Mm,
important is this season for UAB AD Mark Ingram?
Hmm.
yes.
Right. What does this mean? How important is this season for recruiting? I
Yeah.
really think if you look at this, this is a very this season is very important for a lot of reasons, and you can include fan support. Like, where do we fit in all of
Yeah.
this world, this wild west NIL transfer portal era? I think we can establish ourselves as somewhere that recruits want to go in order to get to the next spot. They'd be like, hey man, we can go to UAB, and I'll take that because that means that we have talent coming in constantly because teams is going to change. That's football, especially. So I'm not even looking to keep players like all of this. Oh, we got to
Yeah.
keep. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care
Mhm.
anymore. What I care about is can we keep a good cycle of players coming in? If I think we need to win and show that we have a coaching staff that can connect with players and get you to that next level, a la AK. I think
Yeah.
that's what AK has been able to do in basketball. Year after year, it's like, hey, if he can't get you to the league, he can get you damn close.
Hmm.
Or you're gonna be the number one player in the portal, right? And get like
Yeah.
4 million a year from
Hmm.
Michigan or something. So can we turn into that in football? I think this season is so important. I think because I think if we do lose, and if I feel if we lose horribly, three wins or something like that, it's a big reset. And
Mm,
I don't know what that does for football here going forward. It gets real dark.
My last comment is I want the recruiting philosophy that it appears the team or the staff took this offseason with going after guys production at Idaho State and Nicholls State and getting these guys from smaller schools. I want it to work out so bad. Like I agree
me
with the
too.
approach. Like we talk about recruiting a lot. Like I think based on where UAB sits in the hierarchy with money, I like what they did, and I feel like I would have done the same thing. I think you get that professional, which this staff is built as NFL experience and all that stuff, and how sports are becoming more professional. You get guys that have been on a smaller stage and put them in the stage, the AAC, which does put you on TV and does have some high level competition, does give you direct access to the college football playoff if you are the top team in our conference. And with all that UAB has to offer from an academic and from the facilities its administration has helped and others have helped build and fundraise for. And I think what Darren's making me think about is if we can show that we're successful in that, I think we've created an identity. You sprinkle in the high school guys that you can launch to Arkansas, you can launch to other schools, Virginia, wherever. But your base are those guys that are 23 years old, that have been through went JUCO, went somewhere else, smaller school production. They're just here final year, like they're gonna give it their all. Like that's the base. And you sprinkle in a little JUCO flavor on the offensive line. Hopefully we can continue doing that, but I hope it works out because if it fails, I would have done the same thing. I feel like.
Good point.
Give me some old guys that's ready to settle down, right?
That's right.
They got it.
Married, kids.
They got one on the way,
Yeah.
like give me I want a responsible old man team. They
Yes.
looking at the news, looking at what's going on
Yeah.
in Iran and in Israel. That's the type of guys I want on my
Yes. They're
team.
locked in.
Oh
They're
my
worried about
God.
that. They're interviewing, doing everything for their internships, for their job after here. They're going into finance after, and they're just thinking about their careers. Hell, they may have had a career. Hell,
I mean,
who's going to be our guy that worked at Walmart and had the growth
Or
spurt?
oh no, they worked at the flower shop. They
Yes.
went on who
Will
what
it
DB.
was some D it was D Williams who was what was his name?
Yeah, Darius
Darius
Williams
Williams. Yeah, that sounds right.
uh,
Yeah.
that worked at the fly. We need guys that's like getting in trouble to figuring it out. Well, what's the guy that's playing in D tackle in Canada? No, he's with Michigan
Oh,
in the
Garrett
UFL.
Marino.
Get we
Garrett
need
Marino.
oh yeah.
we need dogs like Garrett Marino that's like getting it, kind of going astray a little bit, but coming back, just maturing and growing up. I want
Hey,
those type of players, man.
25 or older is what we're going after. Like you got to be 20. Like the baseline is like there's no restrictions. They can rent a car. They can, they go on spring break. They can put the condo in their name. Like they're like no restrictions. Like that's what's up.
You got to have your own health insurance, right?
Yeah, listen.
401k. Like they've already got their
401k, yeah.
401k going.
They
Oh
got
my
teachers
God.
retirement. Like
All right,
I need,
guys.
I, I need
Hey,
it. We can keep going, man. We
Yeah.
can keep going with this. This
hey,
is funny.
we can get keep going on the Patreon. Hey, encourage Patreon supporters. We are going to do our summer Q&A. We made a post asking for questions. I think I had the deadline the 20th on this Friday,
Yeah.
but we're probably going to extend it over the weekend. So if you're a Patreon supporter, log into your account and comment your questions. Everything is on the table. Anything. You can ask us anything and we're going to be honest with you. Hey, we might not know or we're going to have a strong opinion on certain things. Um Everything is encouraged. So again, log on to Patreon and we'll have that summer Q&A show in the next couple weeks. But Jimmy Marion, go ahead and sign us off for the free show today.
UAB football bowl eligible. We're going bowling 2025. Go Blazers. You have a good weekend.